What's up, everyone? Hopefully your day is going pretty well. Yesterday, I went to see Spider-Man Brand New Day with the Veggiators when we had a movie meetup, and it was a good time. But once I got home and started watching some reviews from critics, I noticed that a lot of people missed the ball when it comes to the social commentary of this movie. There's a big focus and social commentary when it comes to men. And no one was bringing that up. So, since no one brought it up in any of the reviews, any of the critiques, it might as well be yours truly responsibility to break it down. See what I did there? Spider-Man responsibility. I digress. But yeah, I actually did a full review on the Veggiators YouTube channel, but I did an extended review where I had a section where I talked about the social commentary, where this movie dives heavy into the themes of isolation, loneliness concerning men, and how Spider-Man dealt with it. I've cut that portion of the review out, and we're going to actually watch that portion here on this channel on social dynamics. So this will be the social dynamics of Spider-Man Brand New Day. But if at any point you want to see the full review, you're welcome to check out the Veggiators review. That review will be linked in the description. Now let's go ahead and get into it. Let's get into the deep, like, put your scuba gear on. Let's go ahead and get deep, because I'm going to share the message that this movie is saying that I think a lot of people are just kind of overlooking or just not seeing. But there's some serious social commentary when it comes to men, purpose, and loneliness and isolation. And it's extremely relevant now because you can ask ChatGPT to bring up the stats, but society in general is more lonely than it ever has been. And the way Spider-Man and Peter is dealing with this, it's really relevant because there are a lot of men like this that are going through this. Some people probably thinking like, so you're saying like no friends, like no contact with women. It wasn't just that he didn't want to get back with MJ. He just didn't want to get with any woman in general. Like there's this scene in the elevator where he's this woman is in the elevator. Oh, we stay on the same floor. Like clearly she's throwing him a choosing signal. She's interested. He's just like, no, get it. He actually moved in the basement of the building or whatever, just so like no one can actually find out anything about him. So that's him just kind of rejecting like human interaction in general, and he's doing it for a quote unquote honorable cause. I don't want to say this is an allegory for incels because it's a little deeper than that. They're like most incels, they will want to have this stuff, but they don't have the skills to actually get it. And I'm not saying Peter Parker is the most charismatic dude. Like, no, he's a normal dude, but normal dudes can, get this stuff. They might not be able to get it in the numbers that they want, but they can get the normal average level of it. And the reason I'm commenting on this is because I see a lot of people, especially I talk about this on my social dynamics channel, but I see a lot of this going on like in the real world, like where men have like purposely isolated themselves and they don't really realize that has a serious consequence, not for them, but for society. Like when the spider per portion of Spider-Man is overtaking the man portion because he's not allowing himself to express himself, by having friends in the life and stuff like that. That's an allegory for like when men are too developed into their purpose, or if it's evolved into responsibility, but they purposely shut out the social aspects of, female companionship and also just having, friends going to the bar, having the beer with a few buddies and just, talking about your day and having fun. They just kind of push that element off, and maybe it's for a few years, maybe it's meant to be temporary, but it goes on too long. And like you just have sometimes these people can just kind of snap, or they just become a different person gradually over time because they're not allowing that other side of them expression. And that's dangerous because men who don't have friends or female companionship historically are dangerous. Even if it's for an honorable cause, you might be really focused on school, for instance, and you're working two jobs to pay for that school. And you'll say, yo, I don't have time for girls. I don't have time for friends and all that stuff. And it's one thing if that goes on for maybe 2 or 3 years, but it drags on for like 7 or 8 years, or really just anything past 2 years, to be honest. It's one thing to do that temporarily, but when it goes past 2 years, obviously you're not going to turn into a man spider. That's kind of, I'm glad they didn't do the man spider thing in the movie, but maybe that's their take on man spider. But Peter just kind of snapping in these moments where he just loses control. That's an allegory for, men who shut this aspect of themselves out, but they don't realize that as a consequence for them and the people that may be close to them, and sometimes for society if they just start, snapping. So I really like how they dealt with that in the film, where Peter actually just realized that he can't do this alone and starts integrating people back into his life. And I prefer they were different people, like I said. I think MJ and Ned, they served their purpose as bringing some new characters, but that's the direction they went. But the point is, he started integrating people back into his life. And I think that's something that we really need to take note of as men, because if we don't, there's consequences not just for us, but for the people around us and sometimes for society. And they wonder why people just kind of like black out sometimes and do something crazy according to what they say. And there might be some truth to that. They're just not expressing enough things and it's just all bottled inside.